Hi Taurus, welcome to your February reading. My name is Kat, this is Kat Tarot, and maybe you have heard I have lost all my monthly readings because we are going through January retrograde, and that just simply made me think that I simply need to kind of like reshift, refocus. Maybe there are different messages that need to come through, or maybe that I'll be just attracting completely different Tauruses, and hence this needs to be redone. So here we go, guys. Let's get some cards over here for Taurus for February. And you're getting Gaia, you're getting nurturing. That's very much Taurus, I would say. It's kind of like coming to who you are, coming home if you wish. And let me see just general guidelines over here, or guidance even, because you got Gaia after all. You have Five of Fire, you have Sea Tome over here. I'm going to zoom it in so you can see this better. And oh, why is this all the way here? And then you got something else. You're getting Ten of Cups. So general guidance over here, guys, is Five of Fire means that some other people might be involved, and it could get tense at times. It can get to the point that you're kind of like losing energy. It's going to be all about setting boundaries, all about what you want. It's going to be possible lots of anger as well included in the situation, where maybe something that looks kind of like gentle is turning into kind of like full-blown combat, if you wish. And that looks like it's just like maybe a beginning of a month, and this whole Venus in Aqua, it's going to be really difficult for you. For some reason, when you get nurturing card, it means you haven't been very nurturing yourself, because this is that Earth Mother kind of like coming through, and she nurtures our bodies by offering this fruit of the trees and the greens from the earth and the air that we breathe, right? So she also nurtures our minds through her awesome and physical beauty. As you can see her, she's kind of like shown in this card. Look at that, kind of like covered with every single creature and everything on the planet, right? And she's also kind of like constantly creating and recreating, right? She also nurtures our souls, which is very important, by kind of like caressing us with her blessings. But she's also challenging us to be better humans, which kind of could be the connection that we are getting it over here. So this here clearly tells me that, you know, there's like something about receiving, right? And receiving can be a sacred act if your intention is to honor spirit. So this almost looks like I don't really want to lift myself up. I just want to see left and I want to see right. And I kind of like want to return the blows. It's kind of like tit for tat, eye for an eye kind of a thing, right? So there is like some energy that is coming through that is very kind of like combative energy, as I said, but kind of like there is really need for being open. There is like really need to be humble, because all of a sudden this energy of love, the energy of understanding can enter over here, right? So you need to ask yourself if you had some kind of childhood conditioning that you're not allowing this door. Imagine love knocks on the door and you just say, not here, get away, right? It's just universally good energy. It's universally healing energy, right? So consider that all the actions you will need to take this month should be self-nurturing, right? So what comes to your mind should be positive thoughts, and they should be rinsed if they're negative, and recycled and removed, right? Same thing with your clothing, same thing with kind of like what you eat will be very, very important. So you need to set aside anything that is a ritualized, or like say ritualized habits and beliefs that kind of like restrict this pure act of allowing kind of like your body, like I mean spirit and a soul to be really nurtured, right? So this is really telling me that allowing this kind of like to happen, you're pushing yourself into this energy where everything feels connected. This can also mean somebody coming through who is the right one, who is both good on the paper and physically there is a physical attraction. So many kind of like things that can really happen out of this situation, right? Okay, so And I think what's wrong with my camera, for some reason I cannot position it, but we will work with what we have. It's a Mercury retrograde. All of these things might come back when this Mercury retrograde is done on February 20th. So keep that in mind. So let's go to the Celtic cross and see Celtic cross for Taurus. Celtic cross for Taurus and what I see over there. Celtic cross for Taurus for February. Oh, we have another 5. We had the 5 of Wands over there. We have the 5 of Cups. So this this kind of like literally to me is the card of being pissed off in this particular deck. Look at that. It just like intention was, it was so easy. I have all this kind of like fishes captured, but instead of getting them, you just get yourself all, you get your feet wet, and you feel like you're completely kind of like square peg in a round hole, right? There are kind of like clearly issues with the situation. The whole message of this card is to look around, to look for the beauty. There is clearly no nurturing. There is like simply intention to be predatory if you wish. So I don't know if this is you or there's like somebody coming your way, kind of like going in this direction. And this is crossed with 8 of Earth, and this is the card of training. This is the card of here. Let me show you some skills. So do you have skills, or somebody's maybe outskilling you, if that's the verb? Somebody is checking all the angles and putting all the kind of like dots on the I, crossing all the T's. This is kind of like looking into those details. But you're not looking into these details because you're dealing with some kind of like self, with emotional, so that almost like it clouds your thinking, and this is clearly telling you you really need to look in the details. Remember how I said this Gaia, this nurturing, is literally looking in all these details and things that really need to be done, right? So there is like some kind of nightmare. Something happens to you, it's like, oh my god, like I am so ticked off, I just cannot deal with this. To me, this is the card that I call wash machine brain, because it keeps spinning, you keep thinking the same thing, and you're not getting out of that scenario that you're experiencing, and yet you're not seeing a solution, right? So the action is like, this really tells me that maybe you focused yourself on a solution, that you drew certain conclusions, but that they're wrong, because that's why this card showed up and saying, did you really check it? Did you really? Because that would be like, let's say, kind of like receiving your bill of a sort and freaking out and accusing a neighbor they kind of connected to your electricity or something, and then you just realize that you have left, I know, something working in the basement, on and on and on, and that's kind of like what it was. Meanwhile, like the damage is done, you just cannot unring this bell anymore, kind of a thing, right? And so kind of like be careful, because Mercury retrograde can create situations like that. Oh my gosh, it happens all the time, and I'm watching like a hawk. So, and you will not be watching, you'll be very susceptible to that. So remember, put it in the calendar with red, 1st to the 20th. If you guys are not on my mailing list, get to be on my mailing list, because I send a calendar. You can print it out and you can kind of like have it in front of you, and it's going to be much easier to sustain the month with knowing, like, I mean, how and when you can step into boo-boo. This is a karma card, and this is a card of victory. This is a card that basically talks about, you know, something can move forward, something, and this is good, that maybe you're resolving this nightmarish situation, but there's still, it's emotionally you're upset, emotionally you're frustrated, emotionally you might feel shame or guilt of some sort. And look at, it's really interesting, right, that we have 10 of fire. So this would be a 10 of wands, and everybody's like running away here. We see some kind of like, it was the meeting in the stage number 9, and now this meeting was interrupted. It was not fruitful because everybody has to run for cover, right? So this can talk about some kind of secrets. So this could be you keeping secrets, or it could be somebody else keeping secrets. Why I said it's interesting, because this is the energy of 1 and this is the energy of 1. This is really telling you that formula to success is to move forward, right? You need to now run for the cover. You need to go in a new direction. But honestly, they're not going to go where they're going here. You don't go. So there was a planning, and usually the normal natural ending, if they didn't have this like fire erupting, would be okay, so now we agreed, I gotta do this. Now you're just simply running away. So what are you running away from? It almost like feels like that some of you might feel prosecuted. Some of you might feel like that you are under some kind of like under lamp, that somebody's really looking at you closely, and it might feel unnerving. And that's why I kind of like see possibly can be that somebody assessing your business, you're being audited by the government, right? And you're kind of like trying to explain things, and it's kind of like really, really bothering you. Not necessarily that you did anything wrong. This is saying to you that there's going to be an element of stress this month. Whoa! But nothing really kind of like comes without the opposing signs. You also have the Lovers. So now this is the first major, and it's in a month of basically love. You're getting this possibility of, let's say, crossroads, or of possible new direction. So maybe something is not as bad as it was. Maybe something can be repaired. Usually in the Lover stage, which is not Two of Cups. The Two of Cups, you just simply gaze at each other's eyes and you feel chemistry. You kiss and make up, right? Not here. Here you need to talk. You need to come up with a plan. You need to apologize. You need to kind of like understand that this glue has to be built because the other party wants to see this commitment. So that's kind of how it works. You're resolving this nightmare. Maybe you need that confirmation that something needs to kind of like work in this direction, right? Which is really good. So that's why this is a stronger card, because you don't go into this blindly, because chemistry comes and goes, but this kind of commitments usually stay, right? And that really relates to the 14th of the month, right? When we have Valentine's Day, and we will be actually in a new moon on the 11th. The new moon is in Aquarius, and it's about some kind of uniqueness, and this is also air and so on and so forth. So this is you, Earth King, this is Taurus, and you're feeling firmly grounded. But combination of these cards, I mean, this is almost Taurus as well. This is telling me that you're almost immovable force, and only something extreme can push you out, and that the extremes are causing panic, they're causing embarrassment, anger, sorrow, anxiety. Like, look at this, you have stressors here, you have stressors here, you have stressors here. But you get somebody kind of like trying to guide you through all of the systems. And it's going to be really up to you, and how much you can really, how much you can take, and if you can kind of like absorb kind of like these new processes, right? Earth King would be like feeling grounded in your home, in the situation where you are at your work. You kind of like, you don't want change, and everything is calling for it. So imagine it's a freaking tornado, and you're in a car, you're going on your trip. And then tornadoes coming, everybody's like turning around and running away. You go, no, this is the destination I'm going. That stubbornness I'm really seeing over here, my dear Taurus. Let's see the environment. The environment, somebody in the environment really wants the shift. The World card is like, somebody's getting their way, and I think this is possibly what is frustrating for you. You always kind of like that consistency and that solidity and even stubbornness works for you, but this time around it almost like feels like that you are outnumbered, or maybe you have people who are kind of like grouping against you. It's kind of like emotion that kind of like goes away from you. Somebody is maybe telling you there's like something new that has to be done, and again, that's actually a positive thing. This is a karma card. You're getting 2 karma cards over here in your reading, and that's extremely positive shift. So the moment when you're listening to this, that shift is going to start to happen. It's kind of like going to get activated. The world is like to that moment, and somebody's coming to you and maybe just putting you in front of the final act, right? Because after this world, we are kind of jumping off this window. It's the Fool, and we're going on the new cycle there as well, which we saw this new cycle. You have the repetition of a theme over here. Another karma card. I only have 5 karma cards. You have 3. And look at how many more cards you have. It will be just Justice and Wheel of Fortune that I'm missing. So good kitty, this means the destiny is stepping in, karma is stepping in. It's almost like if you think that you will be able to decide something this month, you need to think again. Because look what we have. This is you. Look at how stubborn you are. Cute, charming also. But I think this cute and charming usually works, right? But look, you're looking in this direction and somebody else is looking to something else, right? So this is also a card of a crossroads if you really kind of like think about it. So this kitty is looking up. This kitty from the stand is looking up. But here we have this negative attitudes, that stubbornness coming through. And usually kind of like you kind of like balance it out with this like spectacular, charming personality, with enjoyment of the better things in life. So kind of like the package deal is not bad at all in the end, right? But somebody is here taking this on, and like almost like you are becoming, oh, maybe a project if you wish. That could be it. But this can also connect to what you had the Knight of Cups, that maybe you want more out of relationship that somebody else wants, right? This is really telling you, like, look at this, 1, 2, 3 major arcanas, 1, 2, 3 karma cards. So this is almost like saying, okay, Taurus, you can wish whatever you wish, but this, I need to get you to safety. I need to get you whole. So if you're in a way, I'm going to kind of like do that and make sure kind of things are done. And it was Sky Queen. I don't know if you have a air sign or a judge of some sort that might happen if you're kind of like doing legal stuff. It could be somebody who is like presiding over that. Maybe somebody needs to render a legal decision, which kind of takes you in a different direction and kind of like moves you toward different things in life. This could be some kind of like air sign that has a power over you. You also have Gemini. You also have Scorpio, or very strong Pluto that is really showing up. And of course, all the fixed signs. You have a Leo, you have a Scorpio, you have Aquarius, and you might deal with another Taurus, or those kind of like very stubborn energies, because we all fixed signs are extremely stubborn. And once when we build a system, once when we feel comfortable, what we consider a home, and the home is a system at home and also at work, we just don't want this to be messed with. That's the way it is. So let me just get a card to clarify, to see why, like, because I'm feeling push and pull. You know, I'm feeling somebody, and I think this is you pulling in one direction. I'm feeling somebody else, like almost like there is like no negotiation. There's like a different direction where they're taking you. So just want to see, why is this transition maybe taking place over here? And having you, it's almost like there is like, I mean, the very essence of, like, I mean, this could be male or female, I guess, guys, because it's a general reading. The very essence of you is being changed. Maybe you're being challenged by the universe to kind of like deal on the grumpiness side, deal on kind of like those warts and stuff, and kind of like make yourself shine. Because Venus is really important for you. This is your ruling planet. Venus is transversing this month. First is going to be in Aquarius. It's starting today on February 1st. And then is re-entering Venus in Pisces on the 25th, right? So this is a pragmatic part in the first part of the month, where we are kind of like exchanging this platonic understanding and friendships, and kind of like, and could be the people from the past, because of Mercury retrograde kind of overlapping with this Venus, kind of like popping back in our life, or the past issues are popping back, and you had a way of how to resolve this, right? Again, it's telling me you're standing very firm. You're not going to change any opinion. You're going to be making sure that things are just going the same way they always did. Make sure that this is going to be one of those high burning months. You have to have the octane food. There is like somebody who in the background, like, I wanted to see this whole thing, what's coming at you. Have a merchant. There is like some kind of like a business attitude, if you wish. Merchant is a good card, but it's very kind of like non-emotional. It's very much kind of like tit for tat, if you want. It can talk about profits. Maybe somebody's kind of like looking in this direction, right? So this merchant is waiting on a pier and kind of like gazing kind of like out in the sea, kind of a thing, right? So that's really good card in terms of business, but this is still coming from somebody on the outside, right? So it can be about some kind of like secretive things, if you wish. You know, it can be, for example, that can also indicate marriage, even though I don't see the other cards. That, well, this can be kind of like that decision, which is more or less kind of like arranged marriage, and kind of like certain things does make sense. Karmically is going to be good as well, right? It can simply mean about doing some investments, or but somebody else has this very, very strong confidence that they're going to be successful in what they do. It's almost like they're not doubting and their energy is right. They're like in the zone. And even though you're in the zone, there's like something over here that they kind of like want to overpower you. So be very careful about this. You will literally, this is the advice over here, you need to have all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed. You need to have things that are ready. This is your armor this month. You need to be nourished. You need to kind of like sleep well. You need to eat well. Literally, this month is going to be warrior month. So buckle up. Be ready for the unexpected. We have like these issues with Mercury's retrograde. We have issues with Uranus squaring Saturn, and that can really kind of like affect you. But overall, if you manage to sync yourself up, this is going to be a really, really good month. So this is possibly making a fixed sign do the shift, which is really, really difficult. And if you kind of like see this shift, actually things are going to work really, really well for you. So this much for me this time around, Uranus for February. Please come on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to live readings. It's amazing because then every sign sends some messages to you. Also, there are like 2 segments where you can ask your own questions and you get the answers, and I tell you if things are going to kind of like be workable or not. And lastly, what kind of like I want to mention, if you guys want your personalized reading, when then everything has to be just connected to you, then contact me via cattarot.ca. And in the comments, guys, I don't expect you to say, yeah, I like the video, no, I didn't like the video. Yes, I would like to see thumbs up for sure, because that helps me with everything and the focus and kind of like doing these things, lots of hours of my own time. But also, I think the comment section can be used for questions. So if you have additional questions and you say, hey, what will this mean in my situation? I might come and actually give you the answer and help you out with that. So, my dear Taurus, hopefully things actually work out in a way that you can find a compromise. Actually, that actually can also mean a compromise, kind of like I do something for you, do something for me, and that you kind of like move things forward. But keep in mind that there's like something going on in the background and you need to be a part of it. You need to be a willing part of it. So it's going to be important to train yourself to kind of get there. Okay, love you, and I'll talk to you soon.